we're going to have a conversation about all things pelvic floor. So let's kick us off, Emily. Tell me, what does a normal or good pelvic floor look like?
Okay, so a normal or good working pelvic floor is something that probably most people just aren't even aware it's there. So for most women in the lead up to having a baby, they probably didn't even know they had a pelvic floor. It was all doing what it should be. So we really notice it when things start to go wrong. So when you have a baby, you obviously carry an increased load in your tummy, putting pressure on that pelvic floor. And we also have all those hormonal changes, which makes everything a bit loose and floppy, ready to deliver a baby. So those are all things that we want, but this can put a bit of pressure on the pelvic floor. So after you have a baby, it is really, really common that the pelvic floor doesn't quite work as it normally does. And so the three sort of categories I would put pelvic floor problems into is category number one is some leaking symptoms. So that can be leaking urine, it can be leaking from your bowel, and it can be even not having control of wind. So that's kind of a leaking symptom, and that can be with just normal moving around, or if you cough or you sneeze, or if you exercise. So number one is leaking. Number two is a heaviness, a dragging or a bulging feeling between your legs. So that can be a pelvic floor problem, or it can also could mean there's a pelvic organ prolapse, a vaginal prolapse there. So that's number two, is that heaviness, dragging, bulging feeling. And then number three is pain. So any pain around the front of your pelvis, in your pubis bone, or around the back, so your lower back. So number three is pain. So it's very, very normal once you've had a baby to have some of those symptoms, but we would expect those to improve over time. And then as you go on your postnatal journey, if you're still experiencing those symptoms, then it's a sign that your pelvic floor isn't working as well as it should, and people don't have those symptoms pre-baby, which means that your pelvic floor is sitting happily in the background doing what it needs to. So we would expect them to improve over time, and if they're not, then it's something that might need to be looked at by a physio or someone that can help with those issues. Kirsty, anything more to add to that?
Literally nothing, because we covered it all.
I guess it's just really hard to describe a normal pelvic floor, because most people actually aren't aware that they have a pelvic floor. There are a small group of people, like your gymnasts or your crossfitters, that might have a pelvic floor issue pre having a baby, but actually for most of us, it's something you can't see, you don't really touch it, you don't really know it's there. So if you're not leaking and you're not having pain and you're not having a bulging, heavy feeling, then we can assume that your pelvic floor is doing what we want it to do.
And it can also be as well, because for years, like when I was younger, so genetically speaking, it can come in that way as well. So you may be aware of it from the way your parents talk, and hopefully that happens.